In the movie The Day After Tomorrow, global warming causes a series of disasters, eventually resulting in a new ice age. In the movie's world, the effects of such an event were disastrous. Most of the northern hemisphere became covered in a massive glacier, Europe was wiped off the map, same with northern US and all of East Asia. What was left of the US government fled to Mexico, along with a large chunk of the US population. Yet after all of this, the movie simply ends. The president says, "We did bad things and we paid for it. Boo-hoo. Zoom to world in ice, cut to black, that's it. No more." But what happened after this cut to black? Well, obviously a lot. I mean, half of America has been wiped off the map. Don't you think that would be interesting enough to touch on? That's where I come in. Let's talk about what happened after The Day After Tomorrow. First off, North America, which now looks like this. As said in the movie, it was basically too late for anyone to escape who was above this line, so let's assume they all died. That must be a problem for the US. Their capital and a large portion of valuable land is under ice, along with Wisconsin. I mean, what are we going to do without Wisconsin? Oh, and also the Great Plains and Industrial Zone and all of America's technological innovation are decimated too. Since the federal government would be all but powerless, most likely staying in Texas's capital of Austin, the state governments would gain more power to govern themselves. However, this would not solve the new massive problem for the US. Since the currency was not backed up, along with the world economy collapsing, the US economy would fall, money would be worthless, and for a little while, goods and food would be sold by trade, not money. Speaking of food, famine! A nice little part the movie left out was the fact that a large part of the world's breadbasket, Great Plains, Eastern Europe, Central Asia, has been destroyed or covered in unnatural snow. So this would lead to the assumption that some sort of large crop shortage would occur, leading to famine. This famine would probably do a massive toll on the surviving population, causing riots and fights over food. Peace would especially be shaky in places where refugees fled to escape the storm, such as in Mexico or Tunisia. Odds are the local population would eventually clash with the new refugees, and ethnic tensions would sour in those regions. Along with famine, this would not lead to the most fun times. As for Europe, this would be the outcome. Everyone would be dead. Or almost everyone. Maybe 1% of the population would survive, and probably a small percentage of southern Europeans would flee to North Africa, establishing colonies and refugee camps in Libya, Tunisia, or Morocco. Other than that, it's up to the assumption that Europe is gone, as is the same with East Asia. Since some reasonably big power players in the world reside in these regions, we can guess that countries such as Britain, China, or Russia would be gone. I mean, even Britain's royal family were killed. Yet, that's not the point. The point is, this would play a huge part in the geopolitics of this new world. New countries would rise out of this power gap, most likely being Brazil, South Africa, Australia, and India. Being relatively unaffected by the storm, these would be the new superpowers of the Ice Age, filling the gap for countries that now look like Penguin Land. So when the movie ends with a nice serene shot of the Earth from space, always remember that everybody is probably killing each other.